here we are with Marc Dwyer from Kull. He just did a wonderful gig at Wave-Gotik-Treffen here in Leipzig.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Willkommen.
Appreciate it.
So I guess we'll just go straight to the questions.
Yeah.
The name Kull, what does it mean and what's its origins?
It was one of those situations where it was made up on the spot before it was supposed to become a project or a band, and it was more along the lines of a title to store music online, but not advertise it or post it or anything. Because at the time I was just writing and recording for my own personal therapy, and it wasn't a thing that I wanted to become a project in public or be publicized at all. So it was a really spur of the moment made up name, and I think during my 20s I always liked the title The Buzzards, which I think there is a band called The Buzzards, but every time I saw it I was like the aesthetic of how the Buzzards looked in a title. And then Kull was more a reference based on the film Kull Conqueror, hence the spelling, the K-U-L-L. But like everyone kind of looks at it as like a play on words for like buzzkill, or other people like reference like, oh, do you like the Buzzcocks and stuff like that. But it didn't really fall into that category, just a by chance situation.
Right.
Yeah.
So admittedly, I thought it might have something to do with buzzkill.
Yeah, no, that's everyone's instant reaction. It's like, oh, is that a play on words for buzzkill? Like, no, but it does look like, and everyone's like, probably types it in their phone and it comes up as autocorrect straight to buzzkill. And like it's always on posters, like even like back home in Australia I'll play a show and like look at the poster and like, oh, I'm buzzkill tonight. But it's an occurrence that I'm sure happens with a lot of other bands as well, where they leave in take out the the or put in a the where like a the isn't supposed to be and stuff like that. It's just simple mistakes, but it doesn't really faze me too much. It's not the end of the world.
So where was the band founded?
In Sydney, Australia. It was probably around the period of 2011 was when I started writing the first few songs, which were I Disappear and other tracks like Fallen Flower and Bedroom Eyes, where it was more, I didn't really have confidence in my production, so everything was really washed out, and I heavily abused the tape delays and reverbs, and I didn't really know how to produce properly, so it was kind of like a building myself from there. And yeah, so I think the project is about seven years? Yeah, but probably about 7 years old now. And just from my bedroom, like I never messed with studio stuff, although like studio stuff is so expensive now, but like I don't have a lot of money, but I try and make things accessible for myself, but I'd rather have them accessible in my own home, so I can kind of do it whenever I please and have it always on standby.
Right.
Especially if I feel the need to work on something or finish something. It can be after watching a film or anything like that, where I get triggered.
Yeah,
and want to work on something.
you get an idea, and then by the time you put everything together, you've forgotten what
Exactly, and if you try and like organize something outside your own home, you're bored over because it's so much work and relying on other people, and it's nice to kind of have a thing right there in your own orbit that you can access at any time.
So I mean, do you literally have like something, not that you're a DJ, but like a bedroom DJ, where literally you just kind of like roll out of bed and press record sort of thing?
Like I've even admitted in the past before, actually even when I released Chroma, during the period of finishing the record, I had appendicitis, and I spent probably about 6 or 7 weeks in hospital, and that was at the point where I was trying to finish the record and get it sent off. And so I spent the last few weeks finishing off the record from bed, just with headphones, and it sounds really bad, but I wasn't even using a MIDI keyboard for something. I was like either getting hardware and bringing it to bed and using it from bed, or just using the laptop keys for MIDI hits.
JKL.
It was like really minimal setup and super lazy, and like anyone who walked past would have just thought I was like sitting there like typing on my computer, but I was actually like recording a record.
That's dedication.
Yeah.
Are you currently recording alone? I mean, have you had other members and collaborators in the past? Do you currently have any?
Yeah, over the last, since the project started, I had Rebecca, who was the other half of the project, but after a few years, like we did have a large age gap between us. She'd only just finished high school and she had like study and stuff in front of her, so she had other priorities, which is fair enough, as everyone has. They want to take their own path, and so she went to venture into jewelry design and moved to Melbourne and started to work in other bands, which is cool. She plays in some really fun bands, and we still see each other every now and again, but since then it's always been a me, myself and I situation. But I have dabbled in some collaborations, especially recently, where I've joined new labels and other people have wanted to do stuff together. Like I just did a track when I did my first European tour with one of my good friends who lives in Amsterdam, who's also Australian, and he does a project now called Minor Crime. And it's like a really fun, kind of cool, dark synth project. And we did a track together called Fade Away, and that came out this year. Yeah, this year. And then there's some friends back home in Australia, under the Burning Rose record label, like Domir and the guys from Death Bells who I've done the remixes for and stuff like that. But when it comes to Buzzcall stuff, I haven't really done any direct collaborations other than the same producer that I work with, Jonathan Schenke. And he worked on Chroma, and he's doing a new record now. And he's kind of like my go-to guy. He's so efficient and so professional, but it's always... Sorry, I'll turn that into silent. Actually, I should probably answer it.
Yeah, no.
My tour manager. Hey, Sean, are you okay? So we were still on the collaboration talk. Sorry, I was talking about Jonathan. So it's all our work together is all done by correspondence because he's actually based in New York City as well. And the time difference it varies. So I'll wake up at 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning and have like stuff that I have to listen to and check out and approve. And then I'll write back to him, and he probably won't get it until like later in my PM time, like later at night when he's just waking up. But it's okay, it still works. Like it's kind of nice. Like I can go to work and not have to worry about other emails coming through unless he's like having a really late night, which he kind of rarely does. But he's super efficient and super fast and really talented. It's kind of weird. People do come up to me every now and again because they look up his back catalogue of other stuff he's worked on and like, why are you working with him? Like he works on like guitar bands, like Parquet Courts and all these other bands, and I was like, we met through Parquet Courts and discussed our love for electronic like synthesizer music, and he plays in a great band as well called Eaters, who are like this really good arty synth project as well. They're really great. And ever since I heard Eaters and had that discussion with him, I knew I wanted to work with him, and he offered like the first week I met him if I ever wanted to do something to hit him up, and I did. Like I wanted to do that first record, which was well and truly behind the time, and I felt like it should have come out a lot earlier. Sorry, and I felt like it stretched for time, but he kind of got up on top of me and made me smash it out. So that's good. Actually, that sounded really weird.
He's an orgasm addict.
He got on top of me and made me smash it out.
I really like the sort of like the dark atmospheric takes you did on Goodbye Horses and Blue Monday. Why did you do those particular classics to cover? Do you have any other covers planned for the future?
Goodbye Horses was the first cover I ever did. It was more of an experimental thing, so it was still in the early days of me trying to find where I felt I should sound, or even like experimenting with my production as well. But even when I go back and listen to tracks like that, I'm like, oh, it's so weird that I decided to put a part like that there or make that sound like that. But that cover in particular still like confuses me, but also kind of excites me at the same time. But choice-wise, it's always been weird. Like I do love movie soundtracks, and obviously that song is so famous because of the Silence of the Lambs film. But also, weirdly, a one-hit wonder with Q Lazarus, and I did look up to see if there was other covers. There were some covers, but nothing of that caliber or sound that I made it into. So I felt like I wasn't trying to reissue what somebody else had already done, so I felt a little bit more comfortable about it. And then Blue Monday was a scary one. I knew I was going to potentially get a lot of hate from that, and I was expecting a lot of negative comments about that, but surprisingly somehow I pulled through without copying too much flack about it. And stupidly, I don't know why I did it, but the week that came out, I was playing shows with Gary Newman back in Australia, and the first show I was like, oh, I might try and play the Blue Monday cover live to like all these older guys that are into that era and that music, and that maybe they'll like it and maybe they'll get really offended, maybe they'll get bottles thrown at them. But it was okay, it worked out complete opposite of what I anticipated. Like I remember I finished the set and I went outside for a bit of fresh air, and a guy came up to me, an older guy who was British, and he was like, oh, I really like that Joy Division song cover. I was like, oh, perfect, like, no one knows. But yeah, I like easily messed up, like easy mistake. But as soon as he said it, I was like,
I mean, it's a great version though.
Yeah, even again, like I remember I wasn't really recording much of any original Buzzkill stuff at the time. When I did that, it kind of gave me the confidence again to try and put my head down and work on original stuff again. So there was a big gap where I took a bit of time off from writing, and even then, like I think the last time I was here, just after Corona came out, I toured. After kind of experiencing how people work here in Europe and elsewhere, it kind of gave me a bit of a kick in the bum. And as soon as I finished that tour last year, I went home and on my flight on the way home, I started writing the second record, especially after like all that crazy stuff happened with the bus and stuff. It kind of triggered me, and yeah, my work ethic has been surprisingly good since then. So I don't know whether it's I'd say it's definitely being around people who have a good work ethic, especially while being here, because everyone does really push themselves, so it's nice.
Obviously, you're currently performing here at this year's Wave-Gotik-Treffen. Have you been here before, or what are your impressions of the festival?
No, this is my first time in Leipzig, and I've heard many things about the festival, many things, and people were really excited when they found out that I was playing it, but even still, I wasn't too sure what to expect or what I felt like I was in for. But after seeing shows last night was like an interesting insight to it, because I saw a lot of clubs and I saw a lot of shows, but then putting myself in this position where it was the show that I was playing and seeing how many people here, I was like, oh, I didn't realize like the anticipation and the build-up and the amount of people that come to these festivals. But it was great, and everyone is super nice and really friendly, and it's a nice environment. So it's always nice meeting new people in these places, because I travel so much alone that it almost kind of feels like me not versus the world, but when I go to venues, I don't really have anyone to hang out with or talk to, and it's kind of weird and lonely. But maybe in time, if I get more opportunities, maybe I'll have like someone else to travel with, and or my partner can travel with me at some point too.
I mean, I'm sort of, I guess it makes you more portable as well.
Oh, totally.
You know, when you've got a band, it's like herding cats, you know, people like disappear and then, yeah.
Exactly, but like everyone's like yelling at me downstairs before going, I can't believe you didn't bring more merch. I was like, that's as much as I could pack in my suitcase. Like if I packed any more, like I don't think they would have let me put my suitcase on flight, because it's already 30 kilos.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna have to try and get more posted, I think, in between now and maybe before the Berlin show.
Right. Let's see. So you're making some other tour stops while you're over here. I mean, do you like touring? Do you like traveling?
It's a test. It's especially back on the subject when discussing about being on my own. It is a massive test doing it solo, because it does build yourself up to kind of expect anything that may fall in front of you. I do enjoy it, as I said again, like I meet so many lovely people and I see so many great places, but it's mentally strenuous. Like I need to stay in the zone and not get too distracted, otherwise if something happens, I'll put a lot of pressure on myself, and I do put a lot of pressure on myself in these times. But I feel like if something does mess up, I'll hate myself for it, and I really beat myself up about it, and it's a hard trap to kind of break out of. But in the end, I do enjoy it, and it's so much different because in Australia there's only really 3 cities you can do these kinds of touring opportunities with, because it's Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, and you only really make it to elsewhere when you're an established Australian band. But in my position where I am now, in comparison to here, to back home, I have a lot more opportunity here, and I feel like a lot of more people back and support the project. When back home it's kind of like I'm an outsider. Not so much now, like the popularity of that style of music is growing, but it's still got a long way to go.
Right. Actually, being that Europe's always been a bastion of this type of music, as illustrated by festivals like this one, would you look to spend more time here, or even move here at some point?
I think the back and forth trip is okay for me. Like I don't mind it. Like as long as I feel like I'm doing enough shows and it's not going to break me as a person, I don't mind doing the back and forth flights. I've contemplated on doing the move a few times, but I also see how much people sometimes struggle with not so much financial opportunities, but living arrangements. Like as each city gets more, I guess, gentrified, the rent goes up, the real estate gets really difficult to try and find, people sleeping on other people's floors. I do like having my own home for like a place to live, work, and do my thing and base myself out of. But yeah, I'm quite content with sticking with Australia, and like even at the end of this year, I'm looking to maybe buy a house in Tasmania, which is kind of completely separate to the rest of Australia, but so beautiful and financially accessible for housing, and for such a small price you can buy like really nice houses on like a coastline, on the beach, have your own private beach, and still have enough space to work out of and have gear and stuff, the kind of stuff that I don't really get access to in Sydney, and a lot cheaper. Like Sydney's such an expensive city to live as it is now, but it's still good having that close by to be able to play shows when necessary back home.
Maybe some Tasmanian devils running around.
Yeah.
Screaming.
We also have a really big greyhound called Anna, and she likes her space too. So the other thing as well is with a Sydney house, you either get an apartment or a really small decrepit house with a small yard. So having our dog is also another benefit, having a larger property in Tasmania as well. But I don't think she'll make sure there's no Tasmanian devils around. She's really really aggressive when it comes to small things.
You mentioned earlier about working on some new material. Is there a new album
There is.
in the near future?
Yeah, it's due out towards the end of this year. It's called who kind of cross. I at the moment with this tour, I'm performing some songs from it. I think two, 3 songs from the new record, just to kind of get the feel for it in a live environment. And it's always kind of nice, especially in the creating period of a new record, to see how it feels in a live stage setting, and then also see how people react to the way it's structured or the way it sounds before coming out. But yeah, that's due to come out in October time, roughly, and that's I think 3, like an Australian label, a US label, and a European label are going to get behind that, which is cool. So it's always been a difficult thing getting hold of distribution opportunities when I'm only doing stuff under Australian label, but now that I've got the 3 potentially joining forces and then distributing on their own accord in their own area, so yeah.
Will it still be a Bandcamp release as well?
Yeah, it'll be accessible on Bandcamp and vinyl, and then after tonight I definitely need to look into probably doing CDs when I'm coming back to Europe again, so it's weird back home. CDs seem like such a throwaway item, and it's kind of sad. You see so many people just throwing them straight in the bin, and so I kind of felt like my duty would be maybe not push CDs so much, because I see the way people treat them back home, and vinyl is definitely more of a priority for Australians now in this day and age. But after seeing and talking to a lot of people over the last few days, people do still cherish a CD release, so yeah. But will be digital too, definitely on Bandcamp and everything.
Very cool. And I guess one final question. What is your favourite curse word and why?
Out of a lot of people I know, I actually curse a lot. I'm really, really bad at it, and then when I see things pop up, like news articles that saying people that curse are actually supposed to be really intelligent, I'm like, oh my god. And then it makes me think, I'm like, oh, maybe I'm just an idiot for like being so foul-mouthed, but didn't curse.
And you've got a drinking problem, obviously.
My favourite curse word. It's probably just the classic of being fuck. Thank you. Yeah, like it's the most common thing that definitely comes from my word, like from my mouth, is it's definitely saying fuck, because it's just such an instant reaction when something happens. I'll even not even realize I'm doing it. I'll look down and go and mumble it or say it under my breath. So it would probably be that, and it's a lot. And if anyone gets offended by the amount that I do curse, I'm really sorry in advance as well.
Does it ever show up lyrically?
No. That weirdly it goes more into my aggression of writing. My driving force behind writing is mainly aggression and hate, and that's what makes me want to like write a lot of my songs. Is like these things where I see people treat other people in ways where it's just so inhumane and so shitty. And being in a city like Sydney, there's a lot of social crime, there's a lot of sycophants, and people treating people like shit. And I see it day in, day out, and it's horrible, and it really boils me up. And it's not like I'm going to sit at home and be like cursing myself about it, but I'll use that to kind of like punch out these songs of aggression and trying to retell these stories and weirdly call them out, or not make fun of them, but call them out in my tones and my words. But yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
Alright, well, thanks very much.
Cool. Thanks, Mark.
Alright, good luck with the rest of the tour.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Alright, cheers.
Thank you.